Hey everybody, this is Chris Lim with Spiffio, and today I'm joined with my co-founder Kim Fu, as well as our good friend Matt Wilson, who is a solutions analyst at TPN. We've partnered together to make many really high-profile events accessible with captioning, real-time captioning for attendees, and we're really excited to have this opportunity to hear from Matt, the story of our partnership and what it looks like for a major recent event, and what this could mean for our future and for other corporate events out there who would like to make their events accessible and accessible in many languages. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you all.
I think that Matt, you met Kim Fu many, many years ago, and maybe we can start with just the story of how that partnership developed and how we came to be working together.
Yeah, sure. So we were looking for a company that specialized in human captioning, both open and closed captioning. And I just went to the internet and just search, and a lot of companies came up. And so I put a request in for more information. And every other company besides Spiffio, I just got, the standard automated response back. But there was a human touch to Spiffio that stood out to me.
Hmm.
I very much liked the product, what I saw on the site, and I was definitely interested in hearing more. But there was just very quickly that human connection, and I had that initial meeting with Kim Fu, and was able to view this Spiffio product, and it really stood out as something very different. And I actually immediately lost interest in all the other companies that I had been looking at. I was like, this is the solution. This is what we need.
Wow, that's amazing. And you did your research. So you really did get a sense for what's out there. Was it mainly that human touch that differentiated Spiffio for you? Were there other elements of it that kind of just said, this is going to integrate so well with what we do, or our customers will love this? What else was on your mind?
Yeah, so I mean, the human touch was definitely part of it, but then the other half of it is I saw that things that Spiffio were doing that nobody else was doing, and it was
Mm.
all in one house. So it completely fit the need that we had at the time, but I was interested in the future, and I saw the potential use cases for using that product in the future as well. So I was just like, this is perfect, just what I needed.
That's really cool because we have had that vision of that all-in-one platform for translation and accessibility. And it sounds like you saw that vision too. And it meant that we could do so much more together in the future. And we love it. We love the ways you've been able to use Spiffio. And we love the good working relationship we've had because I know that's the human touch side of it, right? Like whenever things go wrong or whatever the customer changes what they need and stuff, we can really adapt to work with you to make that happen. Maybe it would be great to share a little bit more about TPN and like, so that our listeners get a sense of like the breadth of what you guys do and then how we slot into that working relationship with you. And then we'll dive into the case study that we want to talk about.
Yeah, so TPN is a very large company. It's been around for a long time. We do all kinds of production. We work in large scale events doing keynotes, and then we have a CCMD process, which is content capture and media distribution. So we're involved in the recording of sessions, live streaming sessions, overflowing sessions to different areas of a large event, and of course, captioning as well. And we have different needs of captioning. We use a lot of times open captions in the rooms so that for accessibility, so everybody can clearly see what the presenters are saying. And then also too, we have closed captions that we embed in the live stream. And using Spiffio's product, we use the AI and the human captions both. So it's nice to be able to have those options. And we do events worldwide, large scale and smaller scale.
Thank you. Yeah, I see now like Spiffio fits so well because when we say all in one, that we mean that we have one platform that lets you make your events accessible in many languages, your content, like the pre-recorded stuff, accessible in many languages. And also we've been working on conversations so that the in-person experience or even virtual people can actually have personal relationships with others with that Spiffio layer to translate between them. So that's fantastic. And most recently, we partnered with you and you guys were the lead, but we got to help make Databricks keynote talks and their major event accessible for their audience. Can you tell us more about that? What was that opportunity? What was the need and how did we deliver together with you?
Yeah, so basically the need is that in the keynote spaces, they wanted to have human captions appear on screen. And in fact, in some instances in events, they will set up ADA compliant areas and they'll put
Mm.
captions on a smaller screen. but not at this event. At Databricks, they got the prime real estate. So essentially, there was the
Wow.
keynote stage, there was the large monitors for all of the visual displays, graphics, videos, and whatnot. And then on both the left and right hand side, huge monitors displaying those
Hmm.
human captions. So really, Databricks took accessibility very seriously and wanted to make sure that everybody could be able to view those captions if they wanted to.
Yeah, what do you think motivated Databricks to do that compared to other events that you guys have done where they prefer creating separate sections?
Well, Databricks was just an amazing event. The buzz and excitement was palpable, and they are really, as far as I can tell, they are very much interested in making sure that anybody that needs this accessibility has it available to
Yeah.
them. It was right from the beginning of the conversations, it was one of the first things they mentioned, and they carried through all the way. Even at rehearsals, they wanted to ensure that, everything was going perfectly with those human captions, and it did.
That's fantastic. We were so glad to do the rehearsal kind of step too, because it really helps us to prepare to make it as excellent as it could possibly be for the real event. And that I think that's really, really unique and amazing about this about Databricks is that they really wanted to invest in that quality. And I want to talk to you a little bit about like what you've heard as you've worked in this space for a while. Do you think AI is a threat to the point where it's like, well, we don't need humans, just turn on this device and just let it run? You've seen those approaches. And what kind of feedback have you gotten from the customers, from the industry? What has it been like?
I don't see AI as a threat. It's a complement, if you will, to the human element, is really what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, there are cases. And of course, it's always going to be more expensive using a human.
Yeah.
But once again, that human touch that comes up, humans can do things the AI can't. It will continue to get better.
Yeah.
And again, it's not completely unusable because we do use it. And people our clients are satisfied with AI, but there are just some cases where you want that human to be in the loop. One of the things is if you really want to be sure there are no mistakes, there is nothing even slightly embarrassing that could come up, that's when you want to have a human in there. And
Yeah.
and and that's what we recommend. If it's a large for a keynote is an excellent example. For a keynote, you want perfection.
Yep.
That's just what you want. You're not going to get that with AI. It's going to be good, but it's not going to be perfect.
Yep.
But that human is going to be, it can be perfect.
Thanks for sharing that. And like Spiffio, our philosophy is that AI with a human touch, and we support the fully automated AI as well, and customizing the AI with the terminology and language of the customer and the event and everything. And I think we talked about a little bit, not in this video, but we talked about the caption and quality ladder, where we let customers make that choice and the trade-offs that come with it, so they can get to the peak quality with humans in the loop, or they can just have the most convenient and cost-effective approach of just AI with tools to kind of bridge that gap to the level that they want. So that's really great to hear because I think that it's sometimes easy to get lost in the hype and just feel like, okay, let's just like turn on the AI. There is this excellence that you want for certain kinds of events that really require that human touch.
I'm so encouraged to hear that, big companies like Databricks place so much emphasis on the accessibility, right? And we know accessibility includes more than just the deaf or the hard of hearings. The other group of people are like the blinds or the vision impaired, right? We developed this thing called the audio descriptions. And turns out that the theaters are very interested in our technology. They want to make sure that the ability to provide sound to the blind because they can't see, right? And being able to do it at scale, and repeatable. So we are excited and looking forward to rolling this out too to the corporate events. And if there's any, interest in including more than just the deaf, we would love to provide or to start that conversation.
Yeah, one other interesting thing, because we talk about ADA and all of that, but there is also another reason for using captions. And this is something that I'd like to talk about a little bit too. Gen Z, 70% of them use captions on all content they watch. Netflix, YouTube, you have it. They're using those captions. And I think with millennials, it's 53%. So there's a
Oh,
large
wow.
audience that will use those captions. Some feel that it helps them to absorb the information better because you're not only hearing it, but you're seeing it, and it kind of like reinforces it. For some, it's just comfort. So that added layer of service that these companies like Databricks are giving, like those attendees, it's something they really appreciate.
And helps them reach that next generation as well, if that's the primary method for most of them to be consuming the content. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's not just limited to people with hearing loss. It really is mainstream for everybody. That's a great point, Matt. I kind of want to explore a little bit more about the benefits of like our partnership, how we work together. And I know that you've worked very closely with Kim Fu. And Kim Fu, you can chime in too, of course. What is that process that we've gone through in preparation for an event like Databricks? What's that been like, and what's made it really great working together compared to other experiences that you maybe have had?
Well, one thing I'll say is the communication is always great. Again, it's great communicating with humans and not
Yeah.
just like I know with some captioning services, you just plugging in this information here, you submit this form there, and it just kind of goes off into the ether, and you're hoping everything's good. It's not like that with Spiffio, which we do talk back and forth to be able to get our events scheduled. Also, too, I appreciate how proactive Spiffio is with the vocabulary, making sure that you have everything you need. You ask for that. We work together to be able to get you everything you need, whether it be scripts or vocabulary, brand guidelines, so that you can
Mhm.
closely follow that. And that's something I know clients truly appreciate seeing. And again, that's something just as a side going back to AI, that's something AI can't quite do yet is take
Yeah.
something heard and be like, nope, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to conform to these company brand guidelines here. So that's neat. One other thing too is the flexibility that Spiffio has. One thing that personally I truly appreciate is there is not a rigidity to Spiffio. There is a
Mm.
flexibility, and that is priceless. So if things change, if a session may run a little bit long, or if there's a last minute pivot where it's going to start a couple minutes late, not everyone is that flexible. And
Mm.
that's something that not just we appreciate, but the clients truly appreciate.
Thanks for calling that out. We want to be customer obsessed and we want to be able to, align our efforts so that we really deliver the excellent experience that they want. It's not
Yeah.
just a gig, it's not just a
And
gig.
on our side, in the Spiffio teams, right, we really appreciate the rehearsal. There's a lot of activities behind the scenes during that rehearsal. We actually reviewed the kind of the history, how can we improve the captions? And then we also look at anything that we could, especially names, right? When someone's get introduced, I think you and I talk about the keynotes and, one of the CEOs, right? Foreign names can be challenging for AI,
Mhm.
and then how it gets spelled out can be embarrassing. So we able to do that because of the rehearsal. When we rehearse, and when actually every time clients send us these are the list of speakers, these are the agendas, we actually look at those and then transform those into multiple different uses. One is for the auto replacement database, make sure that the spelling is correct, right? And then the other thing also that we look at is there anything that we need to boost? Sometimes AI is not familiar with certain terms. We need to boost them. So knowing the topic ahead of time allows us to boost those keywords. And we have this algorithm that we developed to extract all the difficult terms and make sure that AI will recognize them. So rehearsal is very key for us to continue to improve.
I think I remember too that from the perspective of working together, like we also work together with you to create some videos to help to even sell the service to the client, to the customer, like to show them this is what it could be like for their content and to be able to help to close that deal. Do
We've done
that.
that, and
Yep.
it's been a fantastic partnership just to be able to better showcase what the capabilities are. One other thing I'll just mention too that I've enjoyed about our working relationship is that you all are still excited about the product. It sounds like a small thing, but I've continued to see you grow, have new things be available. But when you hear about the success of an event, I think about an event we did where it was in what they call a silent disco theater, where all the attendees have their own headsets that they're listening to be able to hear the presenter on stage because the theaters are closer together. But they ran out of headsets, and then attendees were lining up along the sides without headsets because they ran out. but they were able to still take in the content because they're watching the captions appear on the screen. Chris, I remember I think it was you and I that were talking, and I'm telling you, like, that's so cool. Like, we just that excitement is
Mhm.
it's just a fantastic piece to have in a partnership like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that. Thanks for saying that. And like we also have built that use case into Spiffio so you can use it to even stream the audio. But the fact that it already works so flexibly for captions in that emergency setting is already really cool. And like I get joy. I love building awesome stuff. So like for me, the chance to build awesome stuff and then see it make that difference, even in ways I never anticipated, that's a real satisfying joy for me as a product builder. I want to hear more and more of those stories. I want to help customers get those kinds of stories. It's just really fun. And I also know that we've had events together we worked in the past where things went wrong. And it was so helpful because we have Spiffio's transcript history to show that, we did deliver the service, but there were other elements here that caused it to be laggy or slow due to the venue internet and everything. And that I think that let you go back to the customer and say, well, this is kind of what happened. And so we did fulfill what was desired, but this is something that happened that made it so that it could not be as fast as you wanted it to be. Am I remembering this correctly, this story?
Yeah, and those have been very few and far between. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is one thing, as with a lot of the services that we offer, they are internet dependent, and that's why those specs are called out ahead of time. So unfortunately, if we are in a situation where it's a network issue, then
Yep.
it's going to interrupt the quality of the product that we can return. It is very rare, and I will say that in the vast majority of the cases, in almost every case, we have been able to overcome those challenges.
Yep. And adapt in real time. And that's part of that communication that we have with you guys to kind of figure out to debug on the fly. Where's the problem happening? How do we recover? And then continue to provide accessibility for that event.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I highlight that because I think that as much as like we want to promote the success stories, we also want to share like the fact that when things go wrong, that's one of the benefits of our collaborations. Like we can adapt
Yeah.
to what's needed in the moment. Because any event organizer knows that's a real thing.
Because of TPN, we came up with a new role we call the quarterback role. And when you push TPN, I mean, really, a TPN is enable us to innovate, right? Not only innovate on the feature side, but also scalability. Now we're dealing with this big corporate clients, and when they had like a dozen simultaneous sessions or rooms. And I remember that moment. I realized, wow, what Matt you guys built is just amazing. It's pretty much like on-premise cloud. For every room, you have this architecture, these platforms running that can do recording and everything that you need, right? And you could do that. I mean, you could scale it to as many rooms as possible. That also pushes us to like make sure that our platform is scalable. You can create many sessions. We don't limit the number of sessions. You can do it. I think the scaling factor is, or limitation might be like the number of human operators that we need to make sure that for every room we have one human operators to operate. And then the quarterback making sure that every room has, the sounds is making to the operators' laptops and everything done remotely. You didn't have to fly us to the site, right? Everything's done remotely. And to me, that's like, wow, this is quite a breakthrough compared to the traditional ways of doing this captioning. So even translations, right, where they have to pay a lot of money to fly in the interpreters and renting the booth for the interpreters and all the equipments. It is very costly.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's great about, going back to the partnership and the Spiffio platform is that it easily integrated into our workflow. And I mean, we can use the same equipment that we're doing all these other things in the room, the recording, the streaming, overflow, all of that. And now use that same equipment in room to be able to, embed the captions or put open captions on the screen. So from the client's perspective, it's an additional cost savings because now it's like, well, the equipment is already in the room, the network is already in the room, all these things are already in the room. So now you're just adding that one little piece more of captions, whether that be AI captions or human generated captions. So, overall, as big of an investment that the client is having to make for an event because all that equipment is already there.
Yeah, and it's a very kind of lightweight footprint actually for Spiffio per room, to add it, and it enhances it so much because you do gain the captioning for everybody, like you mentioned. And then if desired, you can add the translation layer, which expands your audience significantly and creates a much better audience experience for everyone who's attending in person. And so it's such a, I guess, what is it called? Force multiplier on the investment they already make to put that equipment in there. And they can get so much more value out of it in so many ways. So thank you for highlighting that. That's a fantastic point. I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of these things. Are there any other questions that you think would be relevant for anyone listening to this, whether they are a corporate event marketer or if they are, doing event production and that kind of thing? Things that you've learned, things that you love to share?
Yeah, one thing we kind of touched on a little bit, but I think it's worth talking about is, we mentioned those silent theaters where the attendees have to use headphones, and that requires now you need an equipment handler essentially to be able to clean those headphones after every use, be able to charge them, swap out batteries, maintain the volumes, help with tech support I've seen. So they have, usually a small crew per theater space to do that. And one of the things that I really love about Spiffio that you offer is that attendee panel. So that just that web page that they're able to view via a QR code or what have you, that individual's device can be used to listen
Mhm.
to that event. That's something we are offering to our clients for events and showing them the cost savings that is available. And they're very interested in that.
Mm.
And that's something that stands out because now you're not having to use headphones that somebody else has used. And really, in the days post-COVID, people
Mm.
feel differently about sharing things you wear.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same. So now an attendee can have their own personal device that they already have. Everybody already has their earbuds or headphones that they use. They can listen to that audio, and then with your services, now they can have translation available. So right there, you know, now if they don't want to use the screen real estate, fantastic. You don't have to put it on the screen. Everybody has it on their device. They can see it, they can hear it, they can have it translated. I think that is a tremendous offering and something we're going to see a lot more events used in the future.
Wow. Thank you so much, Matt. I want to end the call there because it just is so fantastic. Like your testimonial right there is amazing. I think, Kim Fu, unless you have anything else, we can wrap it up.
I was just thinking about the blind again, that we just launched the text to speech, someone that can't read captions, what do you do? And we just launched text to speech. We'll be happy to show it to you, Matt, and then figure out how you can roll it out to these corporate events.
Text to speech. Yep. Text to speech is for the blind to get audio description, and also for people who want to hear translation rather than reading it. And maybe just to add to what you said, all that work can also be embedded on a website so that it also makes the live stream accessible in addition to the in-person event. So there's just so many amazing experiences that we get to create together. And so we're so grateful for our partnership. We're so grateful for you, Matt, and everyone at TPN, and to be able to make these customer events amazing. So thank you, everybody. And we'll talk again soon. And for anybody listening, thanks so much for giving us some of your time to hear our story, to share some of our excitement, and to cast vision for what's possible for your events too.
Spiffio, access in any language.